upset about. I mean, I'm sure we can all probably take a pretty good guess about what he's, upset about, and whether he justified in that. I'm sure we'll get into that. But I think, it's definitely an issue going into this year because I mean, German says it's resolved, but I mean, we'll see. Is it really resolved? I mean, they're gonna face something throughout the year where maybe it's not being targeted throughout the year. If you have a back end or whatever, how's he not gonna fester back up? Is he gonna, or is he cause some have a series of maybe bad plays? Is he gonna, throw, I don't want to say tantrum to disrespect him like that, but it's lack of a better term, like use that. So McDermott is resolved. I highly doubt that. But I'll let you get your own.
He went on the Rich Eisen show and kind of let us know how he was feeling. Like, he's expressed what he's feeling in a very eloquent way to the point where, like, it wasn't disrespectful. It wasn't cryptic or anything like that. He told us how he feels. Maybe the story isn't over, but as far as I'm concerned, we're not going to juice anything else out of this. Like, there's no more information aside from Diggs having an issue mid-season with this current situation. If this proceeds and then it becomes a problem in season, then I think we might get some more answers or it might become a bigger deal. As far as right now, I just don't think that there's anything else we're going to get that we could, gain from it.
I'm just saying. It was an argument. Let's just say what it was. It had to be an argument.
Good. They lost badly.
And guess what? Everybody was in their feelings.
Good.
McDermott, everybody, whoever it was in the room, when it all went down, everybody was in their feelings. And that happened probably right before McDermott had to come and face the media, right? So he was clearly in his feelings. I believe that Coach McDermott was in his feelings. He definitely could have worded it a different type of way.
I think he wanted to send a message.
When you have a guy who's as passionate as Stephon Diggs, I'm sure he can push some buttons where you.
Well, let's look at it from a different lens. Stephon Diggs just signed a 5-year contract extension?
Yeah, he got an extension. Yeah,
an extension, right? So we're in the bed together,
right? So
death do us part with this thing. Mm-hmm. So now my opinion does matter. I'm a core piece of this. Like, so my opinion has to have some value at this point. So if I'm voicing my opinion and then I'm right, I'm telling it like it is, and now, what we're going to do to make this work. Again, in his words, you think I'm supposed to be all right with losing? Like, I mean, what are we doing? Is we making excuses for what it really is? Like,
that's why I say we can't just speculation to what we don't truly know what it is. Is he right? I mean, we don't know.
How do you feel if you came to a team and your first year, y'all make it all the way to the AFC Championship game? The next year, you lose in 13 seconds. The third game, you get your ass whooped at home. How you gonna feel as a competitor, a person that's trying to win? Like, how you gonna feel about that?
I'm glad
we're regressing.
I'm glad he's doing that.
Where are we regressing at? And nobody want to say what the problem is. I mean, each team that doesn't win a Super Bowl, it's a problem.
Yeah.
So it's 31 teams out there that has a problem.
Right.
All right. If you're not winning the Super Bowl, you have a problem. So yes, the Bills do have some problems. They need to fix those problems. Stephon Diggs isn't going anywhere. So again, I mean, play calling guys to get better. I've been saying it before Stephon Diggs even, I guess it's obvious that he feels some kind of way about something.
We've been complaining about Dorsey since mid-season last year.
So that's all I'm saying about that. But let's get to another clip here, and I think this is Keyshawn, right? This is Keyshawn Johnson talking about what he think is the issue. Here's Keyshawn. I know he's not the favorite, but here we go.
Is whenever you go talk to the coach and the general manager, it's most likely you are not on the same page with the offensive coordinator, and you feel a certain way about the game situation, game plans, what the playbook looked like, what they told you when the season was over, what they told you during the off season, and then you come back and you look up stuff or you have a certain conversation with guys and they talking off both sides of their mouth, it becomes a bit of an issue. I've seen it. I've dealt with it as a person in the NFL, but I've also seen it And this is where players say, you know what, man, never mind. I don't feel like dealing with y'all right now. Because y'all sitting up here making stuff up and saying stuff that's not true, and you're not living to your word. That's the way I see it. Now, if there's some other stuff that comes out later on, then that's different. As it stands right now, though, there's some major communication breakdown between Stephon Diggs and the offensive side of football.
Period. Point blank player. There's definitely some issues that's going on. So what could it be?
I mean, we're speculating. I think
What could it be?
everyone probably knows it's the play call. It's how it's being used. Well, we think maybe it's how it's being used on offense or how the offense is being run. Again, I mean, we don't know if he's correct. We don't know what the specific issue is with them.
Maybe it's both.
Maybe it's just the way the offense is being run. I mean, maybe it's targets. I know he's the most targeted receiver, in the football league last year, but obviously over the second half of the season, that went down a little bit. Again, it's just hard to say. Like, I'm not just going to sit up here and just agree with Diggs and give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, he is the most targeted receiver. I mean, does he just want the ball? I mean, does he want the ball in positions? Does he, want to go it all the time? We just don't know. So I mean.
Okay, so what was the biggest thing on Diggs during the second half of the season? Man, what was team starting to do with Diggs?
Double team, shade coverage to his side.
Okay, so whose job is it to get him freed up? Okay, then if that's not happening, then you're the receiver, and it's not happening for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. Then what? I'll be upset, right?
I'm going to agree with Diggs and take his side and give him the benefit of the doubt, just because, and I understand why you wouldn't, but for me, looking at it from like a macro point of view, maybe Jamar Chase is the only wide receiver in the NFL with a better situation than Diggs. And actually, Jamar Chase ain't getting paid yet. So no, Diggs has the best situation in the entire NFL. He's on a team that wins. He got a quarterback that wins. He's getting paid. Best situation in the league, right? As far as wide receiver standpoint goes.
So yeah, y'all stuck with me.
He stuck. Yeah, exactly. It's a marriage that you're gonna have to stick with. Neither of y'all got enough money to move out, so y'all got to stay together no matter what, right? So, looking at it, if he is complaining to this degree where he's making national noise, so to me immediately, I overreacted. I was like, "Why are you not at camp? Where you think you're gonna go? Where you You know what I mean?" But looking at it from, he's not necessarily trying to leave. He's trying to make a point. I get that, and I appreciate that, because the last 3 years we've had this great team, great situations, and we play great all season. Then we go to the final games and we just falter.
At the end of the day, it won't be me. You won't be saying it's because of my production.
Yeah.
And then when that happens, and then when we're not winning, you got to tear this thing all down. Guess who's the first one getting the axe? Stephon Diggs. So you're not about to sit up here and, we're not about to do this right here. We is not about to do this right here. What are we doing? I done went from AFC Championship game, losing in 13 seconds, getting our ass kicked. There is some regression there. We are taking a step back. We don't want to be truthful with that, but we are.
I think the team, he's not the only guy that knows that. I mean, they all know that.
Right, so he's the one that's just opinionated and is going to say something because he's locked in with the team.
I agree. I'm just saying it's possible that, just because you have opinions, it's right. I'm sure he's writing some of the stuff he's saying. I mean, he could be wrong with some of the stuff he's saying, too. And,
but why would he be saying this stuff if he didn't feel that he had it right? Like you said, I'm getting paid. I'm getting paid. I have everything. Justus, I'm getting paid. We got the quarterback. We're a contending team. Why would I want to rock the boat?
I mean, Josh is getting paid too. Most receivers are getting paid. The offensive coordinator is getting paid. They know what they're doing too, and they want to do their jobs as well. I'm just saying, we don't know exactly what he's saying. He could be justifying some of the stuff he's saying. I'm sure he's unjustified some of the stuff he's saying too. But as a competitor as he is, and a certain mindset, and we have an opinion like that, and he's fiery and emotional, you can think you're all right, we're ready to prevent that situation and had it in the goal and hopefully they calm down.
Well, when it's your job to hold people accountable and get the best out of people, whose job is it to hold you accountable, right? We've seen this coaching staff whose job is it to hold people accountable. His boss, their boss would be Brandon Beane, right? Brandon Beane is not going to fire Sean McDermott. Okay.
Right.
So who then holds Sean McDermott and his coaching staff accountable? Even though because the last 3 years, I can confidently tell you we didn't make the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl is because of the coaching. It was not the talent on the field. So whether it's McDermott or whether it's, one of the heads coming off of his tree, it still falls on McDermott at the end of the day. And if year after year after year, I work my tail off and we are one of the best teams in the league and you give us hope and we, might win the Super Bowl and then coaching screws us at the end, I'm going to say something.
Super Bowl favorite, get your ass kicked out. Oh, excuse me. I got where I was. See, I'm in my feelings right now. But yeah, but this is all I'm saying, and maybe, just looking at it from a different lens. I mean, why is he having a tantrum? If there's nothing valid to have a tantrum about, he's just not doing it to do it, And everybody say, oh, this is the stuff Diggs in Minnesota. No. I want to win to the point where I guess I'm gonna have to force y'all to be great because the stuff that you think that's gonna get the job done has not been getting the job done. It ain't nobody gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. Other than that, then everybody here they stealing money. So with that being said, we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back with more late night sports and we'll dive more into Bills OTAs. We'll be right back.
What happened on your call?
It's interesting how two cultures are so different. So you got the
What you want us to go into?
culture. Gunner gets out of jail, and everything is talked about whether or not he gets snitched. But in the white culture, Tim Allen avoided a life sentence.
I ain't gonna lie, Josh Allen saying he got Diggs back kind of make it a little more interesting. Because there's one thing. Yeah, exactly.
For more than 75 years, you've counted on SUNY Erie Community College.
Julian, what's going on, bro? Big Mark in the house, Joey in the house. What's going on, y'all? Appreciate y'all tuning in.
Towards scientific excellence. With 80+ programs, we're a great option for any student. It's not too late to earn college credits this summer. ECC's second summer session begins July 5th with many online options. Visit ecc.edu to register. SUNY Erie for a quality education right in your own backyard.
Western Automotive Group is proud to support the celebration of Juneteenth on the legendary Mix 1080 AM WUFO and Power 96.5 radio.
I think that there's some things that could have gone better last year and didn't. And just, I think we're just, as an organization, maybe not communicating the right way with everything. So, again, just trying to talk and listen at the same time and hear him out. And like I said, just try to move this forward as quickly and as respectfully as possible. I think that there's
Josh Allen's statement on yesterday?
Was that yesterday?
Yeah.
Well, welcome back to Late Night Sports, ladies and gentlemen. I am Justus the General. Justice General, by the way. That's my real middle name. I know it's the nickname, but of course we got my man Jamal in studio and DJ Rosswater on the ones and twos. That was Josh Allen. You guys heard about the whole Stephon Diggs situation that we were just talking about. And like we were talking, off mic, and we were saying that Josh kind of seemed like he had Diggs back at first, and then maybe it was backpedaling just a little bit. Jamal, what was your thoughts on Josh and his whole role in this situation?
So before we got that statement from yesterday, which I'm trying to clarify, I was a little pissed at things because I'm like, man, why you got this man out here, defending you again after they talk about I showed up in the playoff game, he's telling you the sideline, now he's gonna defend you, but you're not going to Tampa, whatever. I was a little mad at this, I'm not gonna lie. And now, with explanation, I kind of get it, whatever. Josh Allen does a good job with the media, doesn't give too much. It was interesting. I think he was in that meeting, Sean and Diggs. So I feel like keyword, saying that statement was respectful too. It did seem like that was a very tense and emotional meeting. And, some people got pissed off in that meeting for sure. Again, I think it's just hard to know because we're not gonna really know what the crux of the issue is.
Right.
We could assume as the season goes on, I'm sure we get a piece of puzzle together, but we'll never really know. Let's say in that room what the crux of the issue is, who's justified, who's not. And so again, it's just kind of hard to kind of really comment on that stuff until you get more evidence and that kind of ways of training camp and season.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said earlier, that's what I was talking about. If this persists until like the middle of the season or something, and it becomes a big deal later, then you'll probably get like an Adam Schefter or something that gets some inside information, and we might get more details on the story. But chances are we'll probably never know what they argued or discussed. See, my thing is, I know Stephon Diggs is a passionate guy, and he's a winner, right? He wants to be an ultimate winner, the Super Bowl champion in football. So when I look at the passion, we just talked about it. He's got the best situation in the NFL from the wide receiver position. Maybe A.J. Brown is up there. Now I'm thinking about it, right?
Yeah.
And then I don't think Jalen Hurts is really as good as Josh. I think that system is just really, really good. Right, exactly. So I don't think that he would just be complaining for complaining's sake. I think that, when you look at the situation, we keep losing to teams that, we are better than. We can beat anybody in this league if we play our best game. Our game versus their best game, there's not a team in the NFL I'm taking over us, right? And then every year after year, the last 2 games of the season, you got one more game to get to the big dance, or 2 more games to get to the big dance, and they just falter versus the best teams in the league, even though they beat these same teams in the regular season. So, and then you got to wonder, like, yo, I'm working my tail off. We're all working our tails off. Why is this not working? And then I look at Josh Allen, and I love that Josh Allen is like super humble guy, right? Not a diva, not somebody who's going to complain too much, not somebody who's going to, talk trash about people. He's an encourager. He's a team leader. He's a leader of men, and I appreciate all that about him. However, at the same time, we talked about it. Who's going to hold the people accountable whose job it is to hold people accountable? If who's going to police the police, right? So if the coaches aren't doing their job, but they're doing their job well enough to keep it, but you as a player, I'm ready to win championships. Something's got to give. And I think Josh Allen feels that frustration as well. I think when he sees Diggs, shugging to him on the sideline or whatever in the last game, I think he was in his head saying the same thing. Like, yo, man, this is ridiculous. We keep like this play calling is terrible. I think he's thinking the same thing. But Josh Allen's a little too nice. He's not really going to go against the grain too much. I think that I'm sure that he, is able to express himself and communicate his displeasure. But, sometimes if you tell somebody in a nice way, they don't necessarily listen. They be like, oh, okay, and shrug it off, goes in one ear and out the other. But then once you invoke some emotion, once you make them feel something, he's upset. All right, we got to dig something shape. I think that is, again, I think that's a great role, I think that Diggs is a great person to have in that role, right? He's a great player. He works extremely hard. He's a team leader and he's vocal. So he's going to be the one to not let stuff slide. He's like, if something ain't wrong, we going to fix it until it's right. And like you said earlier, I'm sure Diggs probably said some things he maybe shouldn't have said. You know what I mean? But hey, sometimes you got to say things that shouldn't be said so that you can get your point across.
Which I think gets back to like our kind of get like our job is now as we need to speculate and guess like what exactly is the problem. For the first 9 weeks, this was whether the offense or whatever, scoring, they look good, they look great. People were all just fighting, endorsing the man. He's so good or whatever in the Packers game, or whatever. And a Lions game, and then even like in the Packers game and the Lions game, in the next few games, like like the offense is the same, but like we're moving the ball down there, turnover. Like we're still moving the ball. Then all of a sudden we're not moving the ball anymore, and now we turn it off a quarter. So it's like, what exactly is the problem? Is the system too complicated? Your mind said something about that. Allen said his eyes are in the right area. I'm sure it has something to do with that. Is it Diggs targets? I mean, we saw the Lions game, he wasn't getting targeted there. Like, what exactly is the issue? Well, the series of issues, I mean, it's just, you can look on film, there's some stuff to see there, but then, if you look on film, hear the comments, I mean, stuff just, it isn't making sense. It isn't making sense.
Yeah.
I know Muki saying something about the double teams and stuff. I mean, like, I'm looking on film, I mean, there's chances he's just open or whatever, and like, the Lions not giving enough time, Allen's missing, it's just like, what exactly is the series of issues?
Yeah.
And that's just the frustrating part as a fan of media, because I mean, they're not entitled to tell us that. They'd be stupid to tell us that. They got a game plan for that stuff as well. And we're just never be able to figure that out until next year, until we can kind of see it, all film and play it off field, and hopefully kind of pieces of the puzzle together.
Honestly, that's a great point, and I think that actually speaks to what Diggs' issue is, right? Because, all right, we got a team that is a winner, wins a lot, especially in today's standards in the NFL, right? Peyton Manning won, what, two rings in almost 20 years of playing? 2 rings, okay. So Josh is going into his 6th season, 7th, something like that, 6 or 7? I believe it's 6. There's plenty of time for Josh Allen to lead this team to the Super Bowl. We win all the time, but we're not getting to the big game. We're not accomplishing our goal. And I think that's what makes me feel good about Diggs doing all this, is because he's not complacent with being a winner. I want to be a champion, right? And I think that, again, it was a great point that you said about how sometimes, the line doesn't protect him. Sometimes he misses his. It's got to be a well-oiled machine in order to win a championship. You have more than enough talent on this offense in order to make it work, but it's not working. And, I mean, there's somebody who's supposed to coordinate all this. You know what I mean? Make sure that all of this is, gelling together. And when it's not, somebody has to be looked at, and I think it keeps coming back to that to me. I've been complaining about Dorsey for a while now. And this is after I gave him all my love. I was like, Dorsey, Brady, Shula, oh my God, we want to go crazy. And of course, I mean, Josh Allen is Josh Allen, so we went crazy. But just looking at the film, you're like, this is missing something. This play calling is not very good. You're running under center on 3 straight plays. What are you doing? Like, what? No screens, no pre-snap motion, no nothing, no creativity whatsoever. And that I'm sure Stephon Diggs, who studies this stuff, is thinking the same thing, right? I'm just a fan. I watch football probably more than the average person, but Diggs studies this film in order to, in order to get better every week. So I'm sure that there's some things that he has some issues with. But one other really, really good thing about this team is that now we have a lot of leaders, a lot of older guys. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Von Miller, Poyer and Hyde, Tre'Davious White. We have a ton of leaders. So one of our other leaders, Von Miller, he had something to say about the whole situation. So let's go ahead and play that clip and see what Von Miller had to say.
Mind your business. Mind your business. You say you got a team full of guys. And there's no guy above the team, but you handle certain guys a different way, and that's just how it is. You cannot handle each and every player on this team the same way. You got all different types of personalities, and people come from different backgrounds, and that's why I feel like I am good at being a teammate, and hopefully future in the front offices. I just have an instinct on how to be able to treat guys. You treat everybody with respect, but you cannot treat everybody the same. Steph is a proven player in this league, on and off the football field. When it's time for him to show up, he'll be here ready to go 100%.
That was almost a perfect answer to me. What'd you think of that?
Like I said, they pretty much what we say all the time. Like I said, no one guy is above the team, which, obviously gets to see. I mean, like, like nobody's perfect in the situation. Everyone, thinks he says something wrong. I'm sure Nick Delray is being stubborn. I'm sure Dorsey's being stubborn, and Allen as well. But like you also said, I think he's on his side, and thinks it's justified in this stuff. He may not be going about it, quite the correct way with what he's doing. I told him, I told him to get it. I'm in college, I still do college athletics. I can say I do. I have done some of, the digs, that's some of my sport. And I know I've said it, and I'm definitely not justified to do that. Coaches have calmed me down for that stuff. But,
Passionate, yeah.
People are passionate. People want to win. We come from winning cultures. I totally get where he's coming from. Doesn't mean he's completely right the way he's doing it, but we get where he's coming from. And I'm sure he's saying it's I'm pretty sure probably 75 to 90% of something he's saying is justified.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's all justified personally. I just think maybe the filter that it goes through is a little different because it's Stephon Diggs, and I think that's what Von Miller was talking about, where he says no guy is above the team, and I don't think Stephon Diggs thinks he's above the team. I think ultimately he's trying to help the team. Yeah, and I don't see him thinking that he's above the team. Especially Josh Allen, it's hard to think that you're above the team. Yeah, exactly. But he's a leader. He was one of the guys he was the guy that had to try to rile his brothers up, even though one of their brothers just died on the field. He was one of those guys that had to try to make that happen. Before they told him that the game was going to be canceled. But the reason I said earlier that this is probably a non-story anymore at this point, with Diggs back at camp, I don't really see it being a story anymore. It's because in week 3, when we blow out whoever, the Redskins, the Commanders, I think it is, nobody's going to care about this. This is not going to be an issue, right? And also, back to what Von Miller said, mind your business. We aren't going to get any more information. We're not going to know what Diggs said. We're not going to know what the situation was between the McDermott and Diggs and Allen and all those guys. They have expressed their issues, and they feel as though they're at a point where they can move on. We saw Diggs and Allen today at camp, and they were doing their handshake and looking buddy, brotherly like they usually do. And again, I think that we're gonna win, but come January of 2024, when we gotta play the Bengals or the Chiefs or the Dolphins or something, right? I think that this is going to resonate with Sean McDermott and the coaching staff. Like, oh, remember what happened last year? We cannot let that happen again. We do not want to have another offseason the way we had this last offseason. Granted, Brandon Beane went crazy, quietly. Somehow the best team in the league got better, and it was quiet, but whatever. But Stephon Diggs was not a happy camper, and I don't know how much contact he had with anybody. If I had to guess, he probably didn't have very much contact with anybody until maybe a few days before mandatory camp. But just looking at the situation, Stephon Diggs has been in this league for a little bit now. He's won in this league. He has been one of the elite players in this league, and he's made a lot of money. I don't think that he's just that quote-unquote diva that people think he is anymore. I think that he is, like, for instance, with a Randy Moss or Terrell Owens, they got the stigma of being a diva because even in football, I want the ball. Care winning. Of course, they probably wanted to win, but that wasn't necessarily what was coming out of their mouth. Diggs is he had 3 catches for 7 yards in the AFC divisional game last year when we played the Chiefs. He did cardio. He did 60 minutes of cardio, but he wasn't mad. The offense did everything they could do to win that game. He understood coming off the football field that the offense was not the reason they lost that game, and he wasn't upset. He didn't say anything. He had 7 yards. The best wide receiver on the field had 7 yards and didn't complain because he knew his team had a chance to win and probably should have won. But now you give me a Bengals game where, you know, I mean, we can compete with this team. We're at home. We're in our element. This whole snow is supposed to be, you know, it's supposed to be an advantage for us. That is not true, by the way, but it's supposed to be. We should be able to win this game. And to come out and lay an egg, it looked like they didn't try. Like, it just looked so
It's also part of the reason why I think like some of us hands with Josh and both like that. I think, you know, and someone brought this up, I don't want to spend on this point, but I thought it was a good point on the video, like because of like the way he's like firing, like kind of like I want to call it the way that's like not deep, he just has like that Tom Brady mentality, you know, like come on.
What they call him, Psycho Tom.
Yeah, Psycho Tom, you know, Psycho Jordan, I'll take it personally.
Yeah.
Like they just saw the teammate die on the field.
Yes.
And he's like, yo, come on, lock in. We got a game.
Exactly.
Come on, we got to lock in or whatever. And, you know, I think, you know, that messes you up. And I think it probably still, you know, how does it not still carry you for the season? And you got, like you said, like, it seems like the guys are going to be emotionless and lifeless. This is not like, what do you mean you're emotional? This is the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. Like, come on. That's what he's probably, you know, like, what do you mean? Like, let's go, guys. And like I said, it wasn't my point, but I thought it was a good point someone else brought up. And, you know, the last week also be a reason he, you know, use that frustration. And, you know, when Brady, you know, was screaming at his offensive line for not blocking right. So, I mean, you call that, you know, leadership as well. You know, we don't know if that was what Diggs was, you know.
I imagine it was something similar.
You should, you know, call him like a leader for that too. I mean, he should call him a diva or something.
Right, and that goes back to what Vaughn was saying about you got to treat different guys differently. And this is one of those guys where you're going to have to treat him differently. What about you, Coach Vaughn, talking about mind your business? Mind your business.
Hey, now, mind your business in the words of Von Miller. Hey, mind your business. That's Stephon Diggs we talking about here. Mind your business. So I'm talking about, yeah, you're right. Some players you do got to treat differently. Because, I mean, everybody is different. I'm different from Jamal just as well as you is different from me. You know what I mean? So we are different. All right, Stephon Diggs, he's wired different. It's all about winning. If it ain't custom to that, it's gonna say something about it. And some guys you gotta treat differently. He's a dog, you know what I mean? So yeah, when my dog barking, I gotta listen to him too. You know, so speaking of barking, we got my guy Mitch Morris, and you know, Mitch Morris is always very articulate on putting the right words together to know what to say, right? He's like really the glue that makes this thing stick, Mitch Morris. So here's Mitch Morris on, I guess, whatever's going on, his opinion of everything.
Listen, Stephon Diggs is an amazing player. Maybe a handful of guys I've been around my 9 years who make an impact like Steph does on a team. I think Josh and him have a symbiotic relationship where they make both better. He's done so much for our team. That's why it's such big news in the media. You know, he's such an important piece. I don't know if it's good to speculate whether it's in the building or out of the building without us knowing what's going on. So for us, we'll let the people do that, what they do. I love Stephon Diggs. I got to do. I got to come out here and do my job, you know? And I want Steph and everyone to be the happiest version of themselves. He's one of the best teammates I've been around. I also think that they're working through it. I think they're doing the thing that they're supposed to do, which is have possibly uncomfortable conversations, have some candidness, which can be hard at times. But in the end, you appreciate it and you work out whether any facet of life. So to answer your question, I don't totally know what's going on, so I can't answer it. But I'm sure it'll work itself out one way or another. And however it does, we'll all know together and we'll answer it there.
You're putting more better than that, right?
Seriously.
I mean, Stephon Diggs, Josh, I love you, but I got shiggity to do.
Yeah.
Right, I can't be playing around with y'all. Okay, that's fine and dandy. Y'all go in the room, y'all figure it out.
Right.
I gotta go over here and I gotta do my job. I gotta get my mind right. I gotta lock in over here.
Which is exactly how I want him to be thinking in this situation.
You know?
And don't want this to become a distraction. But also, with the same token, what happens when you're in a marriage and you have some type of issue or one of y'all have an issue that you don't talk about, that festers and you grow resentment, right? You got to have uncomfortable conversations.
Right.
You have to.
Right.
And I commend this, as I keep saying, I think this is him attempting to have an uncomfortable conversation with someone who he is not theoretically supposed to be talking back to or you know what I mean. But I think he is upping his team leader role and using that, leveraging that to say something got to change.
This is uncomfortable conversation. Just like
Right.
I mean, like you're a coach, right? You're a football coach. I mean, I would think talking about offensive game plan against him, you may disagree about some stuff, but I don't think that's necessarily comfortable. Not talking about coaching, coordinator change, or maybe something they do in the game plan. I would think that conversation is uncomfortable, and so that's why I think there's speculation as as uncomfortable conversations to have.
Two cents. I mean, these conversations are necessary. Yeah. If you want to win, you're trying to win it all. I mean, this goes along with being on the same page. This is how I'm thinking. Like, let me put you into my mind right now. Okay, this is how I feel was what's happening, and this is why this isn't working. All right, and I don't want to be, just okay that we're winning. I want to win it all. I'm not okay with just winning AFC East titles and stuff like that. I want to win it all. And I want to be the go-to guy to go to when the game is on the line. But it really shouldn't come down to that. But Dorsey have to figure that out. I mean, Diggs never did this with Dable. That's all I'm saying. So the common denominator is who? Hey, so, we'll pick things up on Sunday. There is no OTAs tomorrow. So the Bills are officially done. They have 6 weeks to do whatever they want to do. And guess what? Stephon Diggs will be reporting in 6 weeks, guys. Don't worry about that, all right? So from everybody here in the booth, on behalf of my guy Mwada, stay safe, choose love, not hate. Watch them damn hands, man. See you Juneteenth.
Oh, yeah. That's Poncho's Army joint.
What's kind of
Monday.
Juneteenth, right?
Monday. 19th.
Ain't that Juneteenth?
My name is Mark Bernardo. I'm vice chair of
Juneteenth is the 17th. You are off, young man.
They recognizing it on Monday though.
They recognize it.
Juneteenth.
Oh, that's the holiday. That's the holiday where everybody. You ain't gotta go to work.
I'm not going to work, but we still got to report to work. Yeah, supposed to. I already told my boss. I was like, I'm not coming. We should have the day off.
It's a day off or Juneteenth.
Yeah. You get 4th of July off, don't you? All right then.
Day off. Juneteenth, motherfucker. Day off. They made that to the national holiday.
Exactly. That's what I told him.